I feel like it's time for an energetic update, and it's kind of interesting because I'm a little less mental right now and far more in it emotionally. And so, beginning a video in this kind of emotional, watery time when I don't quite have the mental acuity is uncomfortable for me, but I can't reconcile that. I definitely feel like it's time to talk about the energy. So I'm gonna just do my best. And in the past, I've created very personal videos and then very like astrologically based, like this is what's happening when videos, and we'll just see which one this turns out to be. So today, as I'm recording, it's the 7th of November, and we have two things happening today. One of them is that this planet Uranus, it's been for the last 7, 8 years moving through the space Taurus. And Taurus and Uranus together, it's pretty much like broken up all of the soil that we built our previous stability on. It broke it up, it tilled the soil, it prepared the soil, and then it asked, all right, what kind of seeds do you want to plant in this soil? So this year, we spent time while Uranus was in Gemini, we spent time weaving our stories in. We've came to the soil, we tucked a little story in, and we're like, I think this story would be fun. I think this story would be nice. So there was a lot of kind of dreaming, a lot of like projection, a lot of hope for the future, a lot of visioning. And then we came to this time where Uranus started retrograding and was like, all right, well, let's make sure all of those stories deeply resonate with your soul. I know that your character loves those stories. Let's make sure that your soul will be fed by these stories. So it started moving retrograde, and today it's moving back into Taurus from Gemini. So it's kind of like going back into the soil to see which seeds are actually taking, which seeds are actually beginning to grow. And there could have been a few weeds that grew around the valuable seeds. And this could have taken the shape of like old romantic narratives coming to the surface over the last few weeks. Um, Pieces of the past that maybe we're still a little attached to, maybe we're clinging to, or maybe we're grieving just because we realize they're really ending now. Like it really does have to go. And there's this pause where we are looking at these little growths. We're looking at how they're holdover from the past, and we're knowing that their time is up, but it's like appreciating them maybe for the last time before pulling them out and sending them off to the scrap heap, right? So this moment we're in, it coincides with Venus entering Scorpio and making a square to Pluto. And I find it just so beautiful that we would have this moment of pause to kind of feel this bittersweet sensation, like to love something for what it was, to really appreciate something for what it was, and then to also know that there's no more of it. It's not going with you. Like, ooh, can you feel that feeling? It's so not needing words to articulate it. It's like such a very specific, bittersweet feeling. So, this whole week has kind of been like getting us ready for this moment. And the beautiful thing is, as we fall into next week, we've got two planets retrograding in the same week. We've got Mercury starting its retrograde on the 9th. It's kind of moved into Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is like, I think it's the energy like if you could imagine a roundtable discussion in your head and you're standing over this garden and you see the new plants growing, but you also see the old kind of flowers that you're going to be taking out to create space for the new ones. You also have Mercury in there, and Mercury's like, well, can you just acknowledge the truth to yourself? Like, what, like, it's like, can you glean the beautiful um, lessons or epiphanies or the universal truths that those plants that you're going to pull out that they had? Like, what's the universal truth? What's the real juice of those things? Like, it's so much easier to remove something from your life when you despise it. It's so much easier to like burn something when you believe it to be evil or dangerous or whatever, poisonous, toxic. It's so much easier to destroy it. But Mercury in this moment is like, yeah, but before you do that, are there any glimmers of beauty, of sweetness, of truth? Were there any glimmers of truth that those flowers from the past held? Like, what were in the seeds of that? Like, what did that nourish your soil to be able to grow now? And God, if you can just milk that sweetness out as Mercury retrogrades through um, Sagittarius and gets to Scorpio. I mean, Mercury will get in Scorpio by the 18th. So from the 9th to the 18th, you have this like 9-day window of examining the past, of recalling the past. Oh man, last night I watched an episode of Black Mirror. It was called Eulogy. That what a coincidence. Like I didn't even realize I was going to talk about this. I I often watch things and the timing couldn't be more perfect, right? So in this episode of Eulogy, which I strongly recommend you watch, please put it on your watch list. It's on Netflix. Um, basically, like this man gets a phone call that someone from his past has died. And there's this new technology that will help you to create a living eulogy for that person. And you kind of put it on, and then it'll help you to find memories that are appropriate for this live like celebration of someone's life. I'm not going to spoil it, but that energy is exactly what the energy of right now is best for. Like he starts out kind of like calloused and I don't remember and I've moved on and like I'm not remembering. And the juice, I could just start crying. The juice of it was so deeply worth the squeeze. So that's the perfect place to start if you really want to co-create the juiciest experience during this week. So from the 9th to the 15th, we're going to find ourselves finally putting something to rest. That's when Jupiter also retrogrades in Cancer. And I actually looked back at the last time Jupiter was at this degree. It was in 2014. Um, it was, I was kind of like scanning my own life experience to be like, when was the last time you really felt like Jupiter at 25 degrees Cancer, 26 degrees Cancer, because that's actually in a conjunction with my Mars. I have Mars at 26 degrees Scorpio, or I mean Cancer, sorry. Um, and maybe I was going through my ministerial training at that time, and I was really examining and going deep into my emotional landscape. I was using something called the discovery process to feel my emotions and then ride those emotions into memories where, like, basically you stir up a emotion and you bring it so like to the surface. You try to expand the emotion by creating space for it, and then you ask, or a facilitator will ask, like, when was the last time you felt that? So you can kind of see the signature of that through some recent memories. And then you time travel with that emotion all the way back to the very first time you felt that. And the emotion is like a time machine, and it can take you back to really early times, like really early moments when you felt that emotion for the very first time. And the human brain is really interesting because when it has a novel experience, that it doesn't have any context for, it makes a file, especially if it's an acute one, a strong one. It makes a file the very first time it feels something. Like that's why novelty is so stimulating to the brain because the first time you experience anything, all of your receptors open and you become very receptive and you take like a somatic snapshot of everything that happened and you put it all into a file and that file is super rich. And then every time you experience that sensation again, your brain goes back to that file and tucks more stuff into it. And that's how your brain helps you to understand what's happening to you. So some of us have these files that have been repeating that sensation over and over and over, but because we've had the experience so many times or the sensation so many times, we think it's about something different than it actually is because we're just reading the material in the file and we're not going back and to the the original moment where probably we were really young and probably, we were experiencing really heightened emotions or heightened hormones. Scorpio things often trigger a time when you're first experiencing sensations of attachment or intimacy or power dynamics that feel out of our control, emotional or like desirous, erotic themes. Um, and so, when you're moving through the next couple of weeks and you're sort of tracking your emotional sensations, it might be helpful to acknowledge that probably the first time you felt that was when in a time when you didn't have any context for what you were feeling and you took a snapshot and made a meaning about it without really a lot of understanding. And so this is a really good time to revisit those moments in the past and help you rewrite with the information and wisdom you have right now. Sorry, I had to pause for a minute. I just got a phone call. Um, Anyways, let's move on with the astrology. I don't remember. I think I finished that thought anyway. So yeah, we will be granted the emotional resolution. We will feel like we've really come to a space of peace and resolution, and it'll give us the ability to walk away from something that we have been deeply emotionally invested in for quite a long time. I would imagine like maybe over the past 13 years, 12 years, something that's been in your world for a pretty long time that you maybe at one point thought you couldn't live without. Like maybe at one point you thought that was what made life worth living. There could be just an honoring that allows you to let it go. And what's interesting about packing things up with an emotional resolve is that it creates a lot of space and it frees up bandwidth for more receptivity. Like, I don't know, this is a weird metaphor that I'm getting, but have you ever noticed that I don't like this metaphor. I don't want to talk about I don't like this metaphor because I don't want to suggest this thing, but I'm just going to say it. Like, have you ever noticed that before you get sick or like you get a cold or something, you're kind of in a sluggish state or you're in like a holding pattern that feels like almost unsustainable. And then you get sick and it's kind of like this health crisis and like you cough and there's phlegm and you're just like bleh, and you don't have an appetite and you're just like releasing. And then when you start to feel better and you're just taking food in again and you're beginning to like taste and smell things again, it almost feels like your palate has been cleared, like your stomach feels flatter, like you just feel like fresh and new. I have this experience when I get sick. I don't know if anyone else does, but whenever I get sick, I have a belief that my body's trying to like take out the trash. And so I just help it take the trash out. And then when that's over, I feel like I have so much more space for appreciation. Like I've somehow shrunk my stomach. And so good, nourishing food feels fulfilling and satisfying without like needing to pile a lot in to get the feeling I'm trying to have or something like that. Like smells are more acute. I don't know. I'm using that as an example because that's the one I was given just now. But the like release slash receiving week will be from the 16th to the 22nd. So every single person I did a quarterly reading for, I asked them to circle the 16th through the 22nd of November because there is such an anomaly that week, a water anomaly. Like there's so much water flowing during that week. And I could imagine that the week before, the 9th through the 15th, kind of set us up to clear out all of the pathways to make space for the water to flow. Like I don't know if you've ever like researched irrigation. I used to live on a ranch and we had irrigation ditches. And part of the process of maintaining irrigation ditches is that you have to go and gather all the tumbleweeds and debris from the gates, or else the water wouldn't be able to flow through properly and it would flood the field in a time that you're not trying to flood the field. Like you're trying to get that water to flow through the irrigation ditches like very easily, gracefully. So you have to go through and clear all the gates before the water comes. And so I think that the 9th through the 15th is our process to clear those gates. Like, what do you have to burn? What do you have to resolve? What do you have to let go of? What do you need to pack out? Like, where's the congestion? Clear it out, get it out. Like, do the thing you need to do. Um, because when the water starts to flow, it can move very fast and effectively through your irrigation system, through your lymphatic system, through your circulatory system, through your emotional system, through your financial system. Like we need to clear the paths for the flow. Well, we don't need to. You can do whatever you want. Some people, oh, so I'm very Virgo and I have so many planets in Virgo, so many planets in Libra. So I'm designed to find the most efficient and graceful path for energy to flow. That's how I'm designed. I just want to help things to feel graceful, beautiful, elegant, for them to work beautifully, for function, coherence, congruence. Like I'm just designed to find the beauty in that balance and in that health. And so when I look at astrology and I co-create with astrology, I'm looking at it as like, all right, well, the water's going to get turned on pretty big. What can I do beforehand to facilitate the greatest grace? Because I'm not sure I don't really want flooding in this area of my life. Like, I'm not interested in uh like the mud that can be created or the sludge or the disaster or the loss. Like I'm not interested in the extra pain that lack of preparation might cause. So how can I create the greatest amount of flow? So that's what I share. I know that for some people a burst in the dam, an overflow, a flood is what's called for and what is desired. Like maybe you're just begging for some area of your life to like break the banks, like explode, like release, like there's a lot of really good reasons why you would want to build up pressure and have them overflow. And the week between the 16th and the 23rd will give you that opportunity. So do what you will with this information. It could feel like such a deep sense of fulfillment. I don't have to catastrophize it, like catastrophize. I don't know what that word is. It doesn't have to be a catastrophe. But some of the readings that I did for that week, I talked about the myth or story of Noah's Ark. And I talked about how for every person, there's perhaps this archetypal story where you receive a intuitive message to prepare something for yourself, to prepare an ark, to prepare a ship, to prepare a formula, a standard of being, like to prepare a recipe. You've been intuitively called to do something. And because you trust yourself and you have faith, you go ahead and do it. Just like Noah built the ark in the story, right? And people in his environment didn't really know why he was doing it. And in some stories, he's even criticized for following his intuition to do this. That could be part of your story. You do it anyway. And even though some of the practices you're called to do seem a little outlandish, like collecting all the animals and loading them on your ship, right? Like this could be like kind of crazy. And you do it because you trust yourself and you trust your faith. And so the final moment of, I don't know, following through with that is upon us. The final moments of just you're in it this far. You may as well just see it to completion. And the rains and the flood are from the 16th to the 22nd. And I don't know how long the flood is in the Noah story, but it persists for long enough that we even start to feel like, wow, when is this water going to end? Like, how long can I endure this? Like, how long will we be on this ship? I am pleased that my intuition led me to have this preparedness, but how long will this last, right? And the good news is, I believe that on the 21st, we see that first like ray of hope. We see the light shining through the storm. We see the rainbow. We see the proof that the end of this storm is near. And that kind of brings us into the space of Sagittarius season. It brings us out of Scorpio season and it brings us to that adventure that like, oh my gosh, we've uncovered new land. We're heralding in new stories. We've finished the old thing and we've traveled now to this new land. What's here? Where's the adventure? Let's go. Let's figure it out. Let's find. And so there's kind of between the 23rd and the 29th, there's this energy of, well, let's hurry up and discover. Let's hurry up and find out what's possible. Like, let's go run around and like celebrate that the storm is over. And so there will still be some like watery energy. There will still be like tributaries flowing out and release flowing out. And then when we get into December, there'll be a couple of weeks where we're going to want to like move frantically, like move really quickly, like, whoa, like use up all the bandwidth that we freed up now. And I'm sharing this with you because those couple of weeks in December are going to give way to some really long legacy grounded commitments and decisions, like around the 15th of December. But one of the messages that have come in over and over and over is that if it's true, it will last. Like you don't have to throw a truth out because you're worried it will go away. If it's true, it will last. If it's meant for you, it won't pass you by. If it's aligned for you, it will continue to be more and more and more aligned for you, especially if there's several different opportunities presenting themselves. Like we're we are sometimes quick to name things and label things and create some certainty, especially when a lot of our old narratives have gone. You know, we're fast to want to claim new truths so that we can have something to be certain about when we've moved through a time of uncertainty. And my my permission slip for you at this time is just let it delight you. Let yourself have new novel experiences that open up your neural pathways, that open up your receptors, that like clear out the files so you can have like beginner's mind. So you can experience things as if you're experiencing them for the first time without any of the baggage of the past, without all the files being open from the past telling you exactly what this is. Like we get an opportunity in these next few weeks to completely let go and wash away all the old file systems and to experience life as a new, delighted, like magical being again because it's all new, it's all fresh, it's all like completely uncharted unless you want it to be, unless you want it to be charted. Like, why though? If this is your life, if this is your precious life and you've experienced things in the past, you know what those are like. I mean, there are like the greatest hits experience, right? Like there are the greatest hits, and you know that we like to play songs that we love from the past. We like that. But isn't it so delightful to get to know a new album from your favorite artist? Like Florence just came out with a new album, and oh, I love all of Florence's old songs, but gosh, I've been like walking and like absorbing and listening to her album and just like there's something about experiencing something new that's so stimulating, that's so rewarding, that's so like awe-inspiring. And I really do feel that this year we're being offered this opportunity to feel new and light and delighted and like all of those things again. So yeah, this is the energy report. I know that the moment that I'm recording this might not like come with a lot of that delighted feeling, but I feel like that's why it was so important to talk about this. Like sometimes if we can understand our way through the work, we can lean into it more willingly. We don't create extra pain by resisting it. We can just like even delight in the crying. Like I'm doing this. I'm actively moving through this as well. Um, like I had a pretty epic chapter of my life over the last 15 years or so, a really epic chapter. And it had all the ingredients of epicness, like magic, mystery, shamanism, like astral planes and extra dimensions and magic and mystery, erotic intensity and like thing transcendence. I had the most epic last chapter, and it was so wild. It was so on the edge of everything I thought was possible. And I've settled into like I guess at a certain point my soul asked, what are you learning all of this for? Like now that you know that humans are so magical, now that you understand all of your capacity to create, now that you know all of this, what do you want to do with it? Like, do you want to keep riding the edge of chaos, the edge of intensity? Do you want to keep riding this like seeker's edge, which I have Sagittarius on my rising? So, yeah, kind of. And, and is there a way to do that in a way that's so deeply nourishing for your nervous system that feels like that feels like you get to have everything that makes you feel deeply satiated and fulfilled and nourished, all of these other really delicious, good, juicy things? Like, would you create a reality in which you don't have to sacrifice the uh, regulated nervous system state of your human body? You don't have to sacrifice that for the epicness of the edge. What if you can have both? What if you can have it all? And so I'm answering that question with my life right now. I've deeply stabilized things that support and nourish me and fill me up. And I felt like I was making this bargain with life, like, okay, well, now that I have these things, I guess I'm going to sacrifice the edge because I still thought that I had this story playing that you either get the edge or you get to be comfortable. If you're comfortable, you're dying, right? If you're not growing, you're dying. Like all of these like duality paradoxes. I'm like, do you like if I decide I'm going to buy into a dualistic nature, if I decide that I'm either feminine or masculine, or I'm conscious or unconscious, or I'm like, if I decide I have to choose a side, then I will. I will have to choose the epic or the basic. I will have to choose. And so I crossed the fear of that and I moved into the stable, the safe, the basic, the normal, the comfortable. And then I felt myself testing, like, so did you have to sacrifice it? Did you have to sacrifice the epic? Did you have to? And I hope I'm making sense here, but for a minute, I played with that because I know for me, I'm often playing like devil's advocate in my system, like, well, what if I did? Well, what if I did? What's the worst thing that will happen if I've made this choice and I've sacrificed this? Will I have to live the rest of my life without that feeling of adventure? Will I have to live the rest of my life without that epic intensity? What if I do? And so, what are the emotions associated with that? If I'm afraid that that's the truth, then can I feel all of the emotions of that truth so that I'm not afraid of that truth anymore? And so I did. And that that was deep. I mean, I've been in that process for the last like month and a half, 2 months, like maybe since the beginning of September, actually. Like I've been like reconciling that and feeling the emotions of that. And I'm just at the end of that, not completely over the edge, like not completely over it, but I've learned how to stabilize a new truth to a degree. I know where the edge is. I know how I want to play with that. I was talking to my friend yesterday and I was like, I know how to manage my side projects now. Like, I know how to create a side project and manage it in a way that doesn't compromise the things I value deeply, that doesn't compromise my integrity, my health, my um my congruence with myself, right? So I don't know. Yeah. If you're still here and you're listening to this, thank you so much. I guess I'm weaving in a bit more of my own process here. I'm not being super specific because, to be honest, this is like really, really personal. Like not, it's not, it's, I can talk about the energy of it without giving specifics. And I feel like that's better universally for people if they're kind of tuned into what this energy is about. And I'm not going to flavor your story with my story because, you know, I don't know. So, um, what else? Is there anything else? Uh, there are other things like I've got these, I feel like next year is going to be, I've already started mapping next year. So I've already worked on my charts for next year and worked on all the transits and kind of feeling into the timing of things. Definitely 25, 26 is like taking steps. Like you're stepping from a space into a whole new space, and we're in that moment where the effort of using your muscle to climb onto the new step is in process. So we still have a foot on the old world and a foot in the new world, and we're using the muscle, we're putting the weight onto the higher step so that we can take our foot off of this one. So if you, I hope you're following that energetically. If you do it, like think about that. You think about how much weight you're putting onto the top step, the upper step, the next level. How much weight you need to put there in order to feel secure enough to lift this leg off the old step. And um, so next year we'll have us fully in that new place. And the message I've gotten over and over in all of my readings has been what matters most is our internal frequency with ourselves, our authentic frequency with ourselves. That frequency is going to carry the greatest magnetism. It's the truth. It's what's felt before we say anything. Um, it's what attracts people to us, experiences to us. I mean, everyone knows this, but we're having to actually practice choosing our next level frequency right now. The step that I'm talking about is a step into the authenticity of the next level for us. And so a lot of people are changing the work that they're doing in the world. They're changing the way that they're providing their offerings. I'm experiencing it within the space of like intimate relationship dynamics. Honestly, like the most intimate relationship that's happening right now is the one with myself as I'm forging a new identity for myself right now. I'm becoming a version of myself that I've been preparing to be for a long time. And it's exciting and it's affecting every part of my life in profound ways. And I'm seeing a lot of tangible evidence of the changes. But everyone's got kind of a different place where this is uploading. So think about that and know that next year is like the solidification of that new level. And so we're still at the end of releasing and excising and subtracting our gravity in the old frequency. So as we're letting it go, obviously we're going to be doing a lot of emotional release work or maybe even tangible release work, like letting things go. And so I hope I illustrated how to use the energy of November to help gracefully facilitate kind of one of the final stages of this. And If you have any stories you want to share with me, please comment. I really appreciate hearing stories. If you want to like email me, if you want to whatever, like I'm a good person to listen to things. Also, if you're still watching, I'm probably going to write about this in the like notes somewhere. I am getting ready to record the readings for 2026, the quarterly readings for the first quarter 2026. If you would like to receive quarterly readings from me, personal quarterly readings from me for the year of 2026, you can do it two different ways this year. You can purchase them a la carte on my website, or you can purchase an entire year up front, or you can create payment plans. I'm really open to whichever way you want to do this. If you had been receiving readings from me previously, we can continue those exactly as we were before. Just let me know. Um, and if you're new and you want to start these readings, just message me. You can email me, you can DM me on Instagram. I'm at Lunation Live, and I'll get you set up. All right. I'm so honored that I get to talk with you, and I appreciate you watching this, and I'll see you next time. Bye.